Coconut Grove is one of the most sought after neighborhoods in all of Miami. And in the first quarter of 2026, the data for Coconut Grove homes is telling a story of a market that is holding up well and in many ways seems to be getting stronger. I'm Jose Laya, born and raised right here in Miami, and I've been selling real estate in this city for 20 years. I've seen every market cycle this city has gone through, and today I'm going to give you the real numbers. I'm going to break down the complete first quarter of 2026 for Coconut Grove, single family homes, separately, non-waterfront and waterfront, then on a month-by-month basis, and how first quarter of 26 compares to last year's first quarter. And what you're going to see is a market moving in the right direction. Let's get into it. Coconut Grove is one of Miami's most established and beloved neighborhoods. Tree-lined streets, bayfront access, a mix of historic estates and modern luxury, and a market that attracts serious buyers who know exactly what they want. Even though Coconut Grove is known for its scenic bayfront location, waterfront single-family homes are not that abundant in Coconut Grove. And it's actually non-waterfront homes that are by far the more active segment. The waterfront inventory here is thin. We're talking 5 to 7 active listings across the entire first quarter. But we'll still show you both segments separately because the details matter. And knowing the difference is how you make smart decisions. Let's go month by month. So here we have January. 57 active listings, and as we said, look at this, only 5 waterfront homes for sale. 52 of them are non-waterfront. The reason you see that light blue dash, that means that because there is no sales, we couldn't compute the data. 16 closed sales, all non-waterfront, brings it to about 3 months of supply, 63 days on market, with a median price per square foot of $1,055 and a median price sold of about $2.8 million. Now we look at February and look at how the number of active listings increased from 57 to 74. However, the increase was in non-waterfront. It went from 52 to 69. Waterfront remained at 5. Slide over to the next column of closed sales, and we have 15, slightly down, but we had our first closing for waterfront property. Gives you about 5 months of supply. Days on market actually increased to 75, but the one that transacted for waterfront closed in 27 days. And look at the price difference. This is why we like to separate the two. Basically $1,100 median price per square foot for non-waterfront homes. The one that sold, the waterfront home, almost $2,000 per square foot. Look at the difference in the median price sold. Non-waterfronts at just over $3 million. The one waterfront that transacted was $15 million. So about 5 times the price. Now we can look at the month of March, and we want to point something out. So look at the active listings from January, February to March, from 57 to 90. That's a huge jump, and to some people that may be alarming. However, let us explain. What we found is that most active listings, not just in Coconut Grove, we're talking about everywhere, when they're listed on the market for sale, they usually have an expiration date of December 31st, since that's the end of the year. So what we find in the first quarter of basically every year that we've done this for over 20 years is that there's always a ramping up effect of listings from January, February to March, because most listings are set to expire at the end of the year, December 31st, and then as sellers decide to relist and re-enter the market, that's the ramping up effect that you see from January, February, March, 57, 74, and 90. So it's not a data point to be alarmed by. It's a ramping up effect. It's just a normal function of the real estate market that we always see in the first quarter. Now we're going to look at the graph of the first quarter of 2026 and compare it to the first quarter of 2025 to see if we can put this into context. And here we have, look at the numbers, active listings essentially flat. That's pretty incredible. Closed sales slightly up. Months of supply just about the same. Now look at the first quarter of 25. There is 0 closed sales for waterfront properties and only 1 in 2026, while the number of active waterfront properties stayed at 7. Days on market for those that transacted in the first quarter of 25, look at that, 26 days, and it jumped to 63. However, the median price per square foot and median price sold both jumped. Look at that, from 915 to 1109, from 1.9 million to just over 3 million for your median price sold. Overall, these numbers look pretty good, giving us some mixed signals here, but overall we'll say the numbers look good from 25 to 26. Yes, the days on market increased by a lot. However, when you have a median price sold of $3 million, buyers are going to take their time in making purchase decisions. So this isn't too alarming given the data that we see here. The overall picture for Coconut Grove single family homes heading into the second quarter looked pretty good. You had more transactions, obviously at higher prices. We feel the market has solid momentum heading into the second quarter. And now we're going to close with a market snapshot of where the market stands for the first quarter, along with a breakdown of what price ranges all this activity is taking place in. Let's look at that now. Here's our final graph. This shows basically a market snapshot of where the market stands for the first quarter, along with the price range of all the activity. Let's jump right in. Obviously, we went over that. 90 active listings. Out of the 90, 83 are non-waterfront, 7 are waterfront. Not many waterfront homes to choose from. Closed sales, only 1 waterfront home sold for the first quarter. 46 were non-waterfront. There's your months of supply. Days on market, as you could see, is pretty low as well, given the high prices of $1,100 a foot for non-waterfront, almost $2,000 a square foot for waterfront, and $15 million was that transaction for the waterfront home, and a median price of $3 million for non-waterfront homes. That's pretty high. The breakdown, look at this. Basically, nothing transacts under $1 million for single family homes in Coconut Grove. Look at that $1 to $3 million price range. You have 23 closings, or 50% of the 46 that closed. So that's your market right there for single family homes in Coconut Grove. But you have strong market activity. Look at this. 3 to 5 million, you had 10 sales. 5 to 10, you had another 10 sales. And these are for non-waterfront homes. And again, finally, that one waterfront home that transacted was 15 million, which that's why it shows up in the 10 to 20 million dollar range. Above 20 million, we have 5 active listings and 0 closed sales for the quarter. This isn't anything alarming because it's only really 5 active listings, but it's something that we'll look at heading into the second quarter. On that note, we always like to highlight the highest price closed sale of the quarter. And it was actually a non-waterfront home. It was a beautifully restored 1920s home, about 6,000 square foot house on an over 28,000 square foot lot. It sold for $16.5 million, or about $2,600 per square foot. That was the highest price closed sale in Coconut Grove, and it was a non-waterfront home. That truly shows you the demand and the strength for homes, even at the top tier of pricing in Coconut Grove and not on the water. If you're a buyer looking for single family homes in Coconut Grove, you have a market here that's very competitive. The non-waterfront segment under $5 million is very active, and inventory is limited to about 3 to 5 months of supply. Obviously, well-priced homes are moving in under 2 months. So if you find the right property, you're going to have to act fast. If you're a seller in Coconut Grove, you're in an excellent position. First quarter of 2026 showed that buyers are here and prices are up from a year ago, and the overall volume of transactions is higher. If you've been thinking about selling, the data supports moving now. The key is pricing at the market, not above it, and presenting your home correctly to attract the right buyer quickly. And that is your complete Coconut Grove single family homes market report for the first quarter of 2026. And the headline is clear. Coconut Grove is a stronger market in the first quarter of 2026 than it was in 2025. More closings at higher prices. As I start my 20th year in the Miami real estate market, I can proudly say that our goal in making these videos is to help as many people as we can by sharing real market data to give you a better insight into the local market. If you found this useful, subscribe. If you have any questions, drop your questions in the comments. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.